Good evening, Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. Thanks for joining us again. We've got a really exciting evening this evening. We've brought on another guest, the beautiful Cherry, and she's going to tell us all about her journey to Islam. Thanks ever so much for joining us. Just going to introduce to Cherry. Assalamu alaikum, Cherry. Thanks for joining us. Just going to ask you the first question. How did you become a new Muslim?
I became a new Muslim. I was about 19. I was living as normal British girl tends to live in this country, and I was just enjoying life. But I grew up a Christian, and I've always had that belief in my heart that I've got a creator and I've got a God, and that I need to please him to get into heaven. I didn't believe I'd just sort of be granted heaven. And so I was actually looking to become a devout Christian. And I went to university and there was lots of churches around. I went to Lincoln, you've got the massive cathedral on top of the hill. And I started trying to sort of pick a church, but then I thought, I'm not going to become a Muslim without reading, a Christian, sorry, without reading the Bible. And so I started trying to read the Bible, but I just found it difficult. And along the way, I found Islam, but I sort of think that Islam found me. I didn't go out looking for it. It came to me.
Okay, that's great. I'm just going to introduce you to Mohammed. He was on our show last week, and I hope you all watched him because he was absolutely brilliant. This is our beloved Mohammed.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Assalamu alaikum. So he's going to be asking, he's a host as well, asking Cherry some questions. So we're all going to be, it's just going to be all like a formal chat, but it's mostly on Cherry this evening to give a beautiful story. Would you like to ask the next question, Mohammed?
Yes, mashallah. You're from a true Christian background. You was a dedicated Christian. But what was the general response of the people you grew up with, the Christians you grew up with, knowing you are a Muslim now?
I didn't have many Christian friends. It was mainly just my family. And obviously they found it hard, as anybody would. If you're a Muslim and your child goes to another religion, you find it hard. And nobody tells you that that's going to happen. And to be honest, I did it in the worst way possible. I left it so late because every time I went to tell them, I'd get like a choke or a knot in my throat and I couldn't actually say it. And then one day I thought, just come out with it. And I told them. And yeah, obviously they found it hard at first, but they seem to have got used to me. And I think as they've realised it's not just a phase, I mean it, I am a Muslim, this is who I am, and I believe it like passionately with my heart. They're dealing with it a lot better, and they've been amazing, especially in this last 6 months or so. We've really got a lot closer, I think. And I think inshallah, I'm a better daughter than I've ever been, and that's thanks to Islam.
Alhamdulillah.
Is there, do you feel yourself trying to approach your parents a lot about Islam, or do you sort of do it gently? And
no, I mean, you know, at first when you come to Islam, you're quite naive, as all you have is a passion, you don't have much wisdom. And, you know, you try and talk to them about it, you say wrong things, you do it in the wrong way, you probably come across as quite, you know, think you know it all sort of thing. And it doesn't go down well at all. No. So now I don't try and talk to them about it. They know who I am, they know what I believe. If they have questions, they'll ask me. And inshallah, that's making their life easier. And it's not throwing it in their face. I don't want to throw it in their face every 5 minutes. I've become a Muslim, I've become a Muslim. So I don't try to tackle the whole situation often at all. Yeah.
Is there a lot, do you think, like trying to tell your parents, is there a lot sort of, you know, the media, there's a lot of things about us that they think differently too. So it's really hard to tell them we're all about peace and charity.
And people think it's an absolute joke, some people.
Yeah, exactly.
But the problem is, some Muslims don't make any favours for themselves either. Because there are people out there trying to preach and do it in a very hostile way, the way they talk. And, you know, there are Muslims that, you know, condemn everybody else. And it's not, you know, it's not a good look. And we have to put up with the backlash of that. And you do try to tell people, look, we are all about peace, but, you know, my parents, that, you know, when your daughter's becoming a Muslim, you're so scared that she's going to become an extremist or she's going to become a terrorist like the media makes out,
Yeah, exactly.
that they will do everything to protect you.
Yeah, you can't
That's not a
blame them.
time to try and show someone that Muslims are about peace.
No, you can't blame
you
them.
can't
though,
do
can
it,
you?
yeah.
Yeah.
Do you feel that Muslims from different cultures that do not understand our culture, our upbringing, are sometimes too hard and too direct in giving the message?
Sometimes. I think you've got all sorts, basically. Alhamdulillah, I've been put in touch from day one with the right people. The Muslims that I've been in touch with from the day I took Shahada, they've all been amazing to me, and they've really accepted me. They've been so gentle with me. There's one auntie in particular, she's always saying, oh, you know, you're a new Muslim, just, you know, take it easy, sort of thing. It's really sweet. I think she makes too many excuses for me. And they've received me really well. But then I have had dealings with other Muslims where they're very harsh, they're quick to judge, and you need to, you know, be gentle. The Quran was revealed in, what was it, 23 years? And we have to become Muslim overnight. So.
Yeah.
Subhanallah, beautiful point.
Yeah. Do you think there are other Muslims that don't get any support? There's not really that much support.
New Muslims.
Not for for everybody.
There are people that don't have support, yeah. But for me, I'm trying to do something about it. Rather than, alhamdulillah, I've had support from day one. The family that I got in touch with, they'd ring me I didn't ask for much. It'd just be every month I'd get a phone call, and I'd really appreciate that. It meant the world to me, because I didn't like to trouble people, and I'm not the kind of person to sort of put my troubles onto people. I don't go out looking for help. I try to deal with things on my own. But they'd just give me that phone call. Even at times when their lives were busy, it'd just be once a month. It would mean the world to me. But I know there are people out there that don't get much support. So inshallah, I think we need, like I say, try and do something about it. We can't make a difference worldwide, just do it in your local area.
And what ideas would you have in terms of giving that support to the people in need that need the support? How should we as Muslims and as a community support these people that come into the deen?
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it, I think. I mean, I know I've started up a sisters circle recently with a few other sisters, and that's what we're trying to do. Just not make it heavy. None of us are claiming to be scholars. Just get together, sister company. That's what counts. There's a hadith about being around the righteous people. They're like musk; it rubs off onto you. So if you can all get together and trying to be righteous Muslims, it has a positive effect. You've got, you know, you getting together as, inshallah, a good company. So just being there as company is such a simple thing. But it can be as simple as that, or it can be as much as you want to make it as well.
MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And do you also reckon, because when I embraced Islam, I was straight away, I was taken into a family setting. I was introduced to a few family settings. So, you know, I had it easy where other new Muslims are coming and they don't really have anybody there to support them family-wise. Do you reckon that it's obligatory on whoever has gave them the dawah or whoever has gave them the shahada that they actually take them in as a family member?
I do believe that, yeah, because that's what my Muslim family have done for me. They've been there from day one. I've been part of one of the weddings, and they've really, you know, said, oh, you know, you're like a daughter to us. And that's a really beautiful thing for them to say.
This is just like Muhammad has just said. He's touched on a point there. That doesn't happen for everybody.
No, it doesn't, yeah.
You know, I wasn't taken into a family. I've been really on my own. And like Muhammad said, you know, when you're taken into a family, but it is really, really hard because I wasn't.
But I've also felt alone at times because although they were there to talk to me, I didn't always reach forward for them. It wasn't until I started coming forward and asking them for help that I've seen how much they're prepared to be there for me. They didn't want to push themselves onto me too much at the beginning either.
No, but what Muhammad is saying is when you're in a family, you've got everybody around you. They're all praying. They're all, you know, you're in Islam all the time when you're in a family. When you're not in a family, you're not in it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I didn't have that for the first year.
This is what people should be doing.
Yeah, I didn't have that for the first year or in 4 or 5 months. And it's not always possible for people to do it, you see. So I did find it hard when you are living either on your own or with a non-Muslim family, you're the only one that's praying, you can feel like the only Muslim in the world sometimes. And it does make it very hard for you, yeah, I can definitely understand. So it's just about, I think, one of the key things is making masjids available. If you want to feel that, see people praying, see other Muslims, where's the first place you're going to think to go as a new Muslim? A masjid.
Yeah.
So
I think that continual support should be there for new Muslims,
Yeah.
not just for the first
I
6
think
months,
it's, yeah.
and then you don't see them after that. This is the thing that needs an ongoing support.
Yeah.
We need that. Do you know what I mean? I know 2 people that's come out of Islam
Yeah.
because there's no support.
I think it's the masjids. As a Christian, you've got like a really, community in the church,
Yeah.
and you can go there,
Yeah.
you can pray, you're welcomed by everyone. Whereas at the masjids, that's okay for brothers. Sisters need to have it as well.
Yeah, that's what I find.
It's a separate part. I'm not saying mingling with the brothers. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm saying there should be a separate part for women where women can go and women can, mix with each other.
Yeah, it's very important, with the Christian church and the Muslim community. See, everybody grew up with everybody.
Yeah.
When we cross that line,
Yeah,
we're just entering a new world totally.
Yeah,
We're
it's
having
true.
to build relations from upwards.
Yeah.
So it's
Exactly.
very, very difficult for
Yeah.
new Muslims to, integrate into the community.
Yeah,
totally
of
agree,
course,
yeah.
it's true.
I mean, I've got a church where I live, and I have to walk past that church every day. And, on a Sunday when they've got sort of, it's not music, but they've got the church bells going, and they're all dressed and they're going into the church. And I look at that church and I think, I'd love to just go in there.
Yeah.
For
the community.
For the community.
Yeah.
They're all in there, they have tea, scones, they all
Yeah.
chat. And you look and you think, where is there that I can go?
Well, inshallah, this is something that
Yeah.
I'm trying to get, with the sisters circle, I'm planning on, inshallah, taking it further, trying to take it into the masjids and have even just one day a week where women go and they can sit and read Quran or they can pray and they can just be there and be welcome. So.
Do you also feel that, because the church does it, they're open to the public, they have coffee mornings,
Yeah, they're very open.
Exactly.
these type of things, and activities where the general public can partake.
Yeah.
And when we look
Without
at the
being
masjids,
heavily
they don't
preached
seem
to.
to offer these
No.
functions.
Yeah.
And
It's like they have little trips and things like that. Do you know what I mean? For the elderly women go on little trips with the church.
That's nice, yeah. I think there's somewhere in Leicester that does that though. But the only thing that
But
put me
Nottingham,
off,
I don't-
yeah, there is a lack of. I've come from Leicester, and to be honest, when I was in Leicester, I never went to any Muslim things. I was living in a very non-Muslim area. The Muslim areas on the other side of town. I didn't go out to them. But I did try searching things on the internet and thinking maybe I could go on a weekend somewhere. The only problem is I found one group which was for that exact type of thing, activities, but it was called something like, Pakistani women, or it just made me feel not welcome. It needs to be made more universal.
that's right. That's right. That is correct. On another note, talking about Muslim festivals and Christian festivals, do you miss Christmas?
Yeah, I'll admit that, yeah. Christmas is it's family orientated at the end of the day. I still spent Christmas with my family, obviously, but it's, it brings the winter to life.
Oh, yeah. And what was the definition of Christmas? Because for some people it's Santa Claus, it's presents under the tree. But what was it from a true Christian perspective?
It used to upset me actually as a Christian, seeing the lack of, from some people, the lack of religious sort of, heart behind their celebrations. I used to think, come on, in my beliefs back then, it was Jesus' birthday. And I used to think, where's your, respect sort of thing. So yeah, I did used to enjoy going to church. I'd go with my mum, I think, on Christmas Eve, and I used to like that because I was getting my religious sort of, I was feeling a bit of spirituality, and I did used to enjoy all the religious side of it, but I also love the materialistic side of it as well. I loved all the lights and the presents and the big dinner and things like that.
A lot of Muslims don't know there's actually two sides to the Christians' Christmas, because atheists also celebrate Christmas
that's
in this
the sad
country.
thing,
It's Santa Claus for them. It's presents under the snow.
Yeah.
I was an atheist, so is all my family. So
Yeah.
they like big big presents.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sunday, James Bond on the TV
Yeah.
or what? With the
It's
films
nice
and
because
stuff.
it gives them that family time. I
Yeah.
mean, if you've not got a religion, a lot of the time you've not got anything to tell you to appreciate your family. In Islam, it's always preaching about how important your parents are to you and your family. Be there for each other, be good to each other. Like obviously, atheists, it just proves that they've got those values as well, and it just helps reinstall it. Like stop and spend time with each other. So it is a good thing that it's a national holiday because we don't get many of those in this country. It's stop and spend time together. And even the Muslims do that, not because they're celebrating Christmas, but because it's a chance for everything to just stop and everyone to get together as a family. So it's good for the atheists too, yeah.
Do you also feel that there's a lack of consideration in this aspect for new Muslims that come into the Deen of Islam and they find themselves in a new religion, new way, and when it comes around to December the 25th, they're lonely inside the heart, they're missing the family, and you know, well, what is if you're in that, and should we make this day a gathering for new Muslims that to come together, not to celebrate Christmas, but just to come together,
Have family around them.
and
For the ones that are left alone, why not? You know, but for me, it's a case of I still spend it with my family. It's important to them, so it's important to me. Same with Eid. My mum got me an Eid gift this year, which really made me happy. And so if she's going to get me an Eid gift, why shouldn't I get her a gift? You see what I mean? If she's respecting my religion, I'll respect hers back. Not celebrate it, but respect it. We all need to have respect for each other's religion. The Prophet ﷺ was very big on saying, fair enough, don't go full blown, put a tree up in your house as a Muslim family and things like that, but respect each other's religions. Now, if that's my mother and my father as well, he's an atheist, but he celebrates it, I'm going to respect them. I'm not going to say, I'm not coming near you on the 25th of December. Allah knows what's in my heart. Allah knows that I don't believe in Christmas. I'm trying to fulfill my obligation of respecting my parents, respecting my family and making them happy.
It's very important to give gifts as well. That's the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. The sunnah that is very neglected nowadays. I reckon the giving of gifts. It doesn't matter if they're Christian or
exactly.
The family. You know,
it's generosity at the end of the day. What bad can come from that?
SubhanAllah.
That's brilliant. How did you feel about? How did your parents feel about the halal way of our eating?
I had to become a vegetarian, and I was a very devout carnivore before. But they weren't happy with having halal meat in their house. My mum didn't want it in her fridge with her food, in the freezer with her food. But when it came round to Christmas, bless her, she didn't have the heart to see me sitting there with a plate full of vegetables. So she allowed me to get a halal steak, which I loved because Muslims, they don't eat beef much. I hunted down some halal beef in Leicester. It was the first time I was like really getting meat since I've been a Muslim. I thought I'm going to have a nice juicy steak.
Wow.
I hunted one down and I cooked it. And subhanAllah, this year, because I've lived so long without having meat regularly, I said, you know what, Mum, I love your veg that much. I'm just happy with the veg, and I just chose to not have any meat. But she's allowed me for so long. She didn't let me, but then she didn't have the heart to sort of carry on. And I have got a couple of steaks and chicken in her freezer, so they're there when I want them. Bless her.
What is it they don't like about halal then? What is it?
I don't think I've tried explaining the logic behind the way it's slaughtered. But it looks very harsh, and I understand that. And it looks cruel at the end of the day. And they believe that the stunning method is more humane. I believe differently. I'm a scientist. I did a degree in bioveterinary science. And I know that if you slit the jugular vein, knocked out, you can't feel a thing. So to me, that's more humane. I believe in halal meat. If I didn't, I'd just be a vegetarian. But I do believe that it's humane. Whereas my mum, they can't see the other way because it's so different to what they've been used to their whole lives. But it was a small sacrifice to make. It doesn't bother me. I don't try to preach to them about it and live and let live at the end of the day.
That's right.
Yeah. Some things you just have to
compromise on.
To disagree and just get on with it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how do you feel about the current situation in the community? Local masjids, are they doing enough for new Muslims? Should they do more for new Muslims? I mean, well, what do you want to see happen in the Muslim community to support not just yourself but other new Muslims?
I Like you made a really good point last week, brother, that like we've got to thank the Pakistani community because they've come over here and they've built masjids. But we need more English-speaking scholars there for us to just go to and ask questions. Because you feel bad picking up the phone to talk to someone. And women scholars, there's a lack of authentic English-speaking scholars, especially in Nottingham. But we also need more things for women. I can't stress that enough. Before I got a job, I was trying to set up something because after what you said about wanting to go into that church, I thought, you know what, this is right. You know, before I was a Muslim, I would have never walked into a mosque and just said, I want to be a Muslim. I had to have somebody sort of push me a little bit to go there. Not push me, but just say, look, I'm arranging your shahada for you. Because I didn't have the guts to approach a masjid and do it myself. I wanted that to happen. I wanted someone to arrange my shahada, but I wouldn't just walk into a strange mosque and do that because I didn't know how I'd be received. I would have walked into the men's section with my shoes on because I didn't know. And, you know, if you walk into the wrong mosque like that, you know, there are people in there that aren't going to understand. And they need to be more sort of arms open to the community. I know there's a lot of projects going on. I don't know of any in Nottingham, but I know in the country, I've heard of a few where there are masjids that are making an effort to be that way. And it's received really well by the community.
MashaAllah. And do you know any names, that suggestions of institutes out there?
I've forgotten, I'm afraid. I went to a lecture at my uni last February and there was a revert brother there and he named one, I think it was down in London. That's as far as I can remember. Okay. But whatever that organisation was, they were really successful. So, yeah.
Well, what I tend to find about these organisations is that we don't know them all, but somebody knows one, another person knows another. And when we get together, we share the information about, you know, what's going on in the community. I mean, there's I mentioned last week this is Jami al Quram out on the edge of Nottinghamshire. That was just a boys' boarding school and with Darus Nasami Islamic scholarship, but now it's opened up for females as well. They've opened up a university for females, and you know, well, would you ever consider going on one of these courses?
I would do, as long as there was the right kind of people about. You know, like I said before, if they're the people that are understanding to reverts, they're not going to look at you judgmentally and things like that, then I would consider it.
They're very superb people.
Oh.
if the community like came together, because obviously it's a lot of money to get you in these institutes, and you know it's obligatory as part of Zakat even to get students of knowledge into these institutions. Would you go?
I'd consider it, yeah. Obviously, I'd pray my istikhara, whatever Allah says.
Okay, we're just going to take a short break now. I'm just going to have to cut you off there. We're just going to take a quick break and we'll see you soon. Thank you.